Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you my Gemini November 2018 horoscope forecast. And yes, this does apply and pertain to the Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. Anyway, first thing up is, the Sun will be in Scorpio as far as November goes, from the 1st until the 22nd. So the 6th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, there could be a strong concentration of energy, focus, and attention on one's health, diet, the daily routine, an aunt, an uncle, hygiene, service, work, employment, and even pets in some cases. Now, given this is Scorpio energy, this may be done with a lot of Scorpio, like resourcefulness, emotional intensity, very willful, intractable energy. Also with a lot of investigation, perhaps a lot of probing energy, and very secretively and surreptitiously. It may be done with a lot of incisiveness and really just getting to the heart of matters, especially perhaps matters with work and health, and even in dealings with an aunt or an uncle perhaps. And also about going through a lot of subterfuge and superficiality perhaps. And really this could be too, this can shine the light, so to speak, on a Scorpio related health issue. If it could be something connected like with the bladder, the urinary tract, or the pelvic area, reproduction area. So anyway, well, the next thing up is, as far as November goes, the Sun will be in Sagittarius from the 22nd until the 30th. So the 7th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this time. Now, at this time, there could be a strong concentration of energy, focus, and attention on open adversaries, legalities, legal issues, relationships, business partnerships, significant other, competition, even the grandmother, and also on negotiation and compromise. And given that this is Sagittarius energy, this can be done with a lot of Sagittarius expansive energy, exuberance. It could be done with a lot of effervescence, a lot of candidness, and really with the veritable truth, and especially dealing with people in matters with the 7th house, such as a grandmother, a significant other, others in general, and even open adversaries. And even, I mean, given that this is the house of competition, this might be a lot of focus and attention, and really on perhaps sports competition in some cases. So anyway, and given, and anyway, the next thing I want to get at, there will be a new moon in Scorpio on November 7th, and the 6th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this time. Well, this could be about perhaps a new transformation or metamorphosis in one's employment or their work life. This could be something where a new Scorpio-like employment may be started. It could be something, for example, connected with embalming or working as a coroner. Something could be working in a mortuary, a funeral, doing funeral work. It could be doing some occult, supernatural, astrological work, locksmithing, anything Scorpio related. Now, in some cases, this could be perhaps a new Scorpio health issue could happen, especially if this is like actually in making an inconjunct, say, to the 1st house cusp in one's natal chart, because inconjuncts can often be about health issues and in the 6th house of health. So anyway, and it could be a Scorpio related matter, such as something with the reproductive system, the bladder, the pelvic area. And anyway, also, too, this could be about maybe a new mystery at one's place of employment or over a health issue. This could also be about really doing doing something 6th house related, starting to do it with more emotional intensity. It could be perhaps a relationship with an aunt or an uncle. It could be something something connected with astrology or psychology, perhaps, and really and just doing things in the daily routine with more resourcefulness and more emotional intensity. Perhaps it could be with a lot of that willful Scorpio-like energy. Anyway, next thing up is there will be a full moon in Gemini on November 23rd, so the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this time. Well, at this time you may become tired, full, exasperated at a very mercurial, vacillating, overly loquacious, superficial person in your early childhood. It could even be at yourself to some degree. It could be someone from your early childhood that you might see as rather two-faced. It could be maybe somebody that had a strong impact on your outlook on life. This could be also too where you might be looking at this, you might be getting somewhat tired, full, exasperated at yourself for general inconsistency or for spreading yourself too thin, such as dissipating yourself through lack of an integrating or unifying purpose. Now, this could also be, when you're talking about a full moon, it could be the culmination or completion. In this case, maybe a culmination or completion of assimilating information that perhaps allows you to make a Gemini-like new beginning. I mean, when a lot of times, when you have a full moon in the first house of new beginnings, it seems like it's a little bit of a paradox, because you're having, the full moon is supposed to reflect the end of something often, and then when you have the first house about new beginnings, but what I think happens in a lot of cases, how it could manifest, it could be the culmination or completion of something that allows something new to actually begin. In some cases, this could be the revelation or unveiling of something maybe connected with the physical body, especially if this is actually in one's literal first house. It could be something with the lungs, the shoulders, the arms, something Gemini related. So anyway, the next thing up, Mercury will be in Sagittarius, and it will be retro from like the 17th until the 30th, and the 7th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, this could be about having a lot of philosophical, blunt, and candid discussions with a significant other, a grandmother, perhaps others in general. It could be in business partnerships, speaking that veritable truth. You might have a lot jovial conversations with these people often and during this time, and really making a lot of jokes perhaps, and maybe even talking about sports as well. Now also, this could be a time where, given that it's going to be retrograde for about half the month, you might be reviewing some philosophical, religious, very outspoken communications with 7th house people. It could be others in general, the grandmother. It could be over. It could also be over open adversaries, perhaps. And you might have a lot of very frank and blunt negotiations at this time in speaking with that Sagittarius-like veracity, or at least what you think is just the downright truth. So, and remember that Mercury can also, it's not just about communications, it could also be about siblings. And it could be at this time that Sagittarius siblings might figure prominently, perhaps in legal matters. Perhaps it could be Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant people, or simply ones that embody Sagittarius-like characteristics. And a lot of it, whether they're actually being beneficial in legal matters or to your detriment in legal matters, a lot could depend on aspects that are made to other points in your chart. Good aspect to Jupiter can be more positive. A negative one could go the other way. An adverse aspect to Saturn obviously can cause some difficulties and despondency. So anyway, now the next thing up is Venus will be in Libra during November, and it's going to be retrograde from the 1st until like the 16th, and the 5th house is going to be emphasized and highlighted at this time. There could be a very strong enjoyment of Libra, you could say Libra games, perhaps with a romantic partner. It could be with children, people you enjoy hobbies, fun, amusement, enjoyment with. It could be playing like a Libra board game, such as like a People's Court game if they have it, or a Law and Order SVU, something that could be Libra related. Now, and also maybe enjoying artistry with these people as well. Now, at the same time, this could also manifest in really equitable, fair spending, perhaps in speculative matters such as investments. It might be something where you might invest in maybe in a number of things, but really like with an even amount in each one, because Libra energy can be about balance and fairness. And also, too, this could be something too where you are looking for really very peaceful and tranquil situations with children and loved ones at this time. And Libra relationships perhaps might figure prominently in personal popularity. Now, given that it's going to be retrograde for about half the month, it could be a time where you might, in some cases, it could be about maybe getting some retro pay over something Libra related, such as maybe a lawsuit or some legal matter, and it might be connected maybe with supporting a child, perhaps, given it's the 5th house, or it could just free you up to purchase things maybe for your own amusement, your hobbies and your fun, things connected with entertainment, perhaps. So anyway, hold on a minute, people. Sorry about that. Anyway, next thing up. Mars will be in Aquarius as far as November goes, from the 1st until the 15th, and the 9th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, well, this could be about experiencing more acrimonious, contentious situations, perhaps with in-laws, grandchildren, foreigners, people at a religious congregation. They could be very unpredictable arguments, ones that are very extemporaneous and spontaneous. You might find that you're becoming angry, maybe over bizarre, unusual, idiosyncratic behavior from grandchildren, in-laws. It could be foreigners. It could be people that you might encounter during traveling abroad. This could be also fights with friends, perhaps over philosophical matters. And the thing, too, is this could also be about putting a lot of humanitarian and selfless energy into maybe matters through traveling abroad. If you're helping others, maybe in a country or some area that might be impoverished or facing some kind of oppression or homelessness, or people that are hungry, this could be where you might be putting this energy into. Also, this could be a lot of perhaps energy and vitality, this energy into doing something Aquarius-like, connected with higher learning and education. It could be something connected with computers, electronics, aerospace, astrology, another esoteric subject perhaps. And you might find yourself having, in some cases, sex, and this maybe with an Aquarius sun, moon, or ascendant, or one that embodies Aquarius-like characteristics. Perhaps it could be with a foreigner, someone you know at some college, university, someone you meet through traveling abroad. It could be involved in some publishing venture that you might be involved in, perhaps. So anyway, the next thing up is Mars will be in Pisces as far as November goes, from the 15th until the 30th. So the 10th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, you might find yourself giving a lot of compassionate, self-sacrificing energy, perhaps into career matters, authority figures, the dominant parent, which is often the father, older people. You might find yourself also becoming more angry and acrimonious over passive, so overly passive, submissive, lethargic, indolent, maybe a dominant parent, older people. It could be somebody that maybe might have played some role in your public image and reputation if you're involved with, like say, a promoter. And also, this might manifest perhaps in a sexual fantasy that might be fulfilled perhaps with an older person and or an authority figure. And also, too, it might be a time where, I mean, you might, this could also, the way this could manifest is that you may be doing something where you're putting more energy into fantasizing and relaxing and loafing, as opposed to taking action in matters connected with the 10th house, such as attaining success, or perhaps trying to attain a position of authority in just career related matters in general, perhaps getting notoriety, exposure, recognition. Anyway, The next thing up is Jupiter will be in Scorpio as far as November goes, from the 1st until the 8th. So the 6th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. As I've spoken about in previous videos, Jupiter can be somewhat paradoxical. It's very strongly benign and benevolent, but could also have a tendency to enlarge and expand. Now, in some cases, this might expand and enlarge surreptitious, manipulative, even nefarious behavior. That might be tied into someone you may know in your daily routine, someone in your health or work life. Perhaps this could be, or maybe somebody that you render service to. And also there might be an expansion of power and control issues with 6th house people as well. It could also perhaps in some cases expand or enlarge Scorpio-like health-related issues, such as something with the pelvic area, the urinary tract, the bladder, something with the reproductive system. Now, on a positive note, though, this could be also very fortuitous for doing something Scorpio-like that's work-related. It could be doing something with locksmithing, embalming, working as a coroner, working as like a funeral director, investigative work, doing something with the occult, supernatural, astrology, and also about going beyond subterfuge and superficiality with people in your daily routine. It could be an aunt or an uncle, someone in your work, your employment life, someone you might render service to, and also about having perhaps a very profound and deep philosophy in as far as working goes and employment goes. And being of help to others. Anyway, next thing up is, well, as far as November goes, Jupiter will be in Sagittarius from the 8th until the 30th. So the 7th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this time. Again, as I stated before, Jupiter can be rather paradoxical. It's very strongly benign and benevolent, but it could also have a tendency to enlarge and expand. Now, in some cases, it could expand rather foolhardiness, self-righteous, perhaps behavior, overconfidence, cockiness. That could be tied into dealings maybe with a grandmother. It could be a significant other, others in general, and also dealing with open adversaries in legal issues. So it's okay to be confident, but not overly confident, not where you're coxcombical or overly, you're to a point where you become over exuberant or optimistic about things. It's kind of like proceeding with cautious optimism. Now, also, this could be very fortuitous, perhaps through perhaps a sports competition. It could be just things that really it could just be some kind of competition in general, but perhaps it could be sports, given we're talking about Sagittarius energy. And also dealing with, it could be very fortuitous, dealing with things connected with arbitration or negotiation. They could be, actually, it could be some jovial, jocular energy, since we're talking about Sagittarius. And really the power of positive thinking and reinforcement could maybe also be very, could really play a role in perhaps defeating open adversaries, winning court battles, perhaps, and as an example. So anyway, and also this could be very fortuitous and beneficial for relationships as well. It could be Sagittarius ones, Sagittarius Sun, Moon, Ascendant people, or ones that simply embody Sagittarius-like characteristics. Anyway, next thing up, Saturn will be in Capricorn. So the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this time. Well, you might be dealing with some restrictions and limitations, perhaps as far as monetary, emotional, moral support goes. I'm actually having this transit actually hitting my natal chart, and I'm telling you, during this time, it's very hard to get any support from anybody. Things could be delayed. You could be waiting on some kind of maybe it could even be a phone call that would be beneficial to you, that would help you out somehow, and and that even could be delayed. Getting some kind of loan, there might be some restrictions. It might be somebody might see something as far as your credit that's to your detriment. Also, this could be about, another way this could manifest, though, is about taking strong responsibility for eighth house matters, such as making a major change or transformation, or something over an inheritance or an insurance matter. And also, in some cases, this could manifest perhaps in trying to, maybe having to take care of a debilitated or sickly sexual partner, or someone you're in an intimate relationship with, which could cause you to feel somewhat despondent or melancholy. And you might find that your libido might be diminished during this time. I mean, I know I am, but I think a lot of that is attributed to my age, given that I'm almost 50 years old. But I'm sure having like this transit right now is certainly not helping me. So it's like really, anyway. And also, older people might be playing an integral role in making a major change or transformation, or might even be playing a role, unfortunately, in a crisis that you may be in. For better or for worse, of course, a lot could be dependent on the aspects this makes to points in your natal chart. Hold on again, people. Sorry about that. Anyway, next thing up is Uranus will be in Taurus as far as November goes, from the 1st until the 6th. So the 12th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. Well, at this time, Gemini, you might be dealing with very unusual, persistent dreams. There may be more disruptions in your sleep than usual at this time. You might find that your private life is it might be a lot of things that are very sporadic and erratic and unpredictable things occurring in that. You might have disruptions in your dreams, and also this could be in a lot of cases. I mean, this don't necessarily mean that you're going to be restricted in ingenuity and thought. Sometimes it may, but what a lot of cases I think this could manifest is that this could be about really private ingenuity and ideas that you might have, new concepts and ideas that you just don't really feel like sharing with others at the time, and also could be about the formulation of new monetary ideas in solitude and seclusion. You might be experiencing shocking behavior from aunts or uncles at this time. And sometimes Taurus friendships may simply drive you crazy. I mean, figuratively speaking, since we're talking about the 12th house of mental illness. It could be Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant people, or simply ones that embody Taurus characteristics. Now, could this be about also in some isolated cases, maybe an unusual mental illness can occur? Well, in some cases it can. It just, a lot of it depends on the aspects, and if you have things in your chart which could reaffirm or reinforce this, or maybe show a great propensity toward that, then that could be possible. Now, anyway, next thing up is, as far as November goes, Uranus will be in Aries from the 6th until the 30th. So the 11th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, Gemini, you might be dealing perhaps with Aries friendships that may strongly maybe impact your future or play a strong role in your aspirations and goals. They may be Aries, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant people, or simply ones that embody Aries-like characteristics. You might be dealing with very unpredictable, acrimonious behavior, perhaps from people that you know in groups or clubs or organizations. They may even be from friends, from acquaintances you may know. And really, what this could be about too is that you could be applying a lot of or just some kind of Uranus interest as far as a goal or aspiration. It could be something like computers, electronics, innovation, something that could be working and doing work as an electrician, astrology, astronomy, aerospace, perhaps. And you might find that your friends at this, that your friendships might be very sporadic and erratic, and they might be coming and going. I think a lot of this Uranus energy could be about very strong fluctuation. So anyway, well, next thing up is Neptune will be in Pisces as far as during this month. So the 10th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this time. Well, Pisces energy, Neptune energy, could be strongly about dissipation and dissolving, and you might find at this time that you may see that maybe people that were prominent in your career might be dissipating or dissolving. You might find that there's something that's very nebulous right now and unclear, maybe with matters connected with your reputation. In some cases, this could manifest in some kind of defamation of character, or there's some kind of slander, and something's negatively affecting your reputation. You're not really sure maybe how it got started. But at the same time, on the positive note, this could manifest perhaps in doing something career related. That could be Neptune related, could be something connected with photography, chemistry, special effects, pharmaceutical work. It could be dancing, poetry, something with the metaphysical, which could include astrology. It could be helping people with addiction. It could be dealing with people that have alcoholic issues or drug related issues. But also be careful at this time of maybe false prophets or false mediums that are ones that are trying to steer you in some kind of direction, career direction, and they really may not know really what they're talking about, or they're just trying to con you out of money, manipulate you. So anyway, last but not least, Pluto will be in Capricorn still, so the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. Now, I know a lot of you don't want me to say that dreaded D word, but you know I'm going to anyway. Now, a lot of cases, some cases actually, this could be about the actual literal death of someone you're in an intimate or sexual relationship with. You may be dealing with power struggles, perhaps. Some cases it could be over an inheritance. It could be over some insurance matter. Now, also another way this could manifest perhaps is possible surgery on something Capricorn related, like the knees, the bones, or the skin, perhaps. On a positive note, this could be about maybe dealing, maybe the eradication of maybe credit card debt, perhaps at this time. It could be a tax-related issue that may come to an end. Also, too, sadly, in some cases, this could be about the death, the obliteration of some kind of emotional or monetary moral support, but also maybe making a deep transformation in your life as well, and maybe even dealing with destructive psychological issues in some cases. Say, especially if you've got like an adverse aspect that this is making to your, say, your Mercury in your chart, or maybe even the 3rd house cusp, I would say, as well. And also, if you have things in your natal chart that might reaffirm or reinforce this, is what I'm saying. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for my Gemini November 2018 horoscope forecast. Stay tuned next time, where I'll be giving you my Cancer November 2018 horoscope forecast. 2 things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.